Hello guys and welcome back to Tuesday's vlog, beginning of another week. Weekend quickly went over this one, spent a bit of time Christmas shopping, against my will, but has to be done, doesn't it? Saying that, was absolutely freezing this weekend, so I was quite enjoying sitting in the heat at Metro Centre. I went on my own, I took the little in, and I'm not going to lie, actually, I had an alright time for once. It wasn't too bad. I'm sure it will be starting to get bad in a few weeks. But anyways, a few developments which I'm on that note of why I went over to Metro Centre. I've been having problems with the battery on my phone. A year ago I bought it, and I remember a lot of you saying that the quality is a lot better. The battery on it's starting to pack up, basically. It's saying that it's degrading. The battery percentage of its health is down to 84%, and Apple won't change it unless it reaches 80. I paid £180 for Apple Care Plus, so I can lose my phone, break my phone, anything, and I get a new one. So I went in a couple of times recently to Apple at Metro Centre, and they're like, until it reaches 80 we can't do nothing. I'm like, look, I used to be able to get a full day at work, filming, using my phone for business, blah blah blah, and by the time I got home I would still have about 30% battery, depending. Now I get the phone 5 o'clock in the afternoon and it's right getting down to sort of like 10%. I said, it's just not cutting it. And I said, I paid like £600-700 for this iPhone 13 mini, if anybody's interested. That's what all my channel for the last year has been, an iPhone 13 mini. And it is, I personally think, not criticising anybody who does this professionally with tripods and proper GoPros and everything, I watch my videos on my big telly in the sitting room and somebody else's videos, and quality-wise, can't tell it. Yeah, but you know, I use my arm, guys. I don't have those, what you call it, those stick, selfie stick things. I just find it easier to use my arm. I don't have time, because the minute I finish this video, I turn the video app off, and it's back to being my phone again, for ringing customers, speaking to customers, doing reg checks, all the rest of it. So, I don't have time for faffing. In the same, when I'm finished doing the video, I edit it on the phone, upload it on the phone, bang, you guys get it on your screens. So, I don't feel the need to transition into the whole GoPro stuff or all these sticks. I've got the little tripods for doing work, but I've learned to find people aren't interested. I've done videos where I've spent 45 minutes faffing about under a bonnet and people lose interest because there's not enough going on. So I try to do the little snippets of this car's in, that car's in, what I've been doing, and I find it proves to be, you guys, I hope you're interested in it. But if I did show you under the bonnet of me effing and blinding on and swearing for 45 minutes to an hour, changing an AGR valve or something, you're probably not going to be interested, because you either look at that and go, well, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to send it to a garage. Anybody who does a DIY job of it, you look at it and go, well, that's all right for him, he's got a garage, he's got a lift, blah de blah. An actual garage wouldn't watch that because they would be doing it. So I didn't really find the niche market of doing, which I watch a lot of channels where once they get too in-depth on a job, it becomes uninteresting. Let us know your thoughts on that. I could start doing it, but like, argument's sake, yeah, for once I'm down here and I've got my hand in, no camera can do the recording of what's going on down there, so I find it kind of pointless. Anyways, getting sidetracked, back to the point. I was getting fed up, I need the battery back to full health on my phone. I says, look, just fit a new battery. We can't. I said, look, I'll pay for it. No, we can't, blah, 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 warranty, this, that, and that. I said, look, I says, my phone is covered under accidental damage. I said, I've got a 2-year-old sitting there in the pram. I said, I can make this phone disappear. I said, I walk through the woods every day with the dogs. This phone can easily disappear. And he laughed, he went, nah. He says, I've got a better idea for you. He says, all you need to do is I'm not mentioning names or anything like that. He says, all you need to do is just say you're having problems with your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, and your phone randomly shutting down. He says, I'm going to do a check, which it won't show up. It's like a car with a fault which hasn't got a code. He says, then ring them up, I'll put a note on your account, ring up and say you want an express service, so express something or other, and he says you'll get a brand new phone. He says, because it's to do with the circuit board, the motherboards on them have problems, and it's like a fault where it's like a hardware issue where they don't bring codes as such. Fault, like intermittent fault. He says, you get one. I thought, all right. And so he took my name, took me details, put a note on my account. I got home, rang Apple. In fairness, they had a few little issues with it in that way, with shutting down and the odd occasional dropout on Bluetooth. But I didn't know if it was down to the device I was using. Did that, yep, no problem, sir. We're going to have to take £611 off you. I was like, wow. I says, don't worry, the minute we receive the phone back, it's all tracked, you'll get it back. I was like, right, even worst case, if the phone randomly got broken or something, or there was something wrong with it, since I've got Apple Care, it would only be like a very minimal charge, like 70 quid. So I would never lose that. That's just a holding fee that I get it back. So, getting a brand new phone, guys. Just thought I'd let you know that if anybody's got an Apple phone and you have issues and you've got Apple Care warranty, there is ways around getting a brand new phone like that for free. But this brings me to the point of what I'm saying to you now, is there may be issues this week on recording. I think it's coming today or tomorrow. I've got to do the transition, all the apps, all the data, as you all know. So this week may be a short one. I might not even do one at all yet. So yeah, there might be a little bit of interruption this week. As well as today, there's an electric guy here putting smart meters in at the garage, which I'm not keen of. I don't know if it's just my mind, but ever since I got my smart meter in years ago, I've had 2 of them. I don't feel as if it's as cheap as what it used to be. I think they con you somehow. This isn't, by the way, with the biggest increase what we've had at the minute. This has been over like 7, 8, 9 years I've lived in my house. I just always found that the smart meters didn't save us money. They actually somehow cost us money. Don't ask how, don't ask why. I've just got a feeling about that one. So yeah, I need to go out now. The guy who's going to fit the smart meters wants to know something about a service thing. God knows. So I'll come back to you with what's actually in and what's getting done very shortly. Right, guys, now, so just quickly what's in. Just I had a guy here, I was meant to be fitting the smart meters, and he wanted to know something about his car. So yeah, what's actually in. First up, on the electric meter side of things, obviously this being a garage, is 3-phase, and I had a feeling about it. We knew we've rearranged everything for today to fit that in, but again, when you're talking to these people on the end of a phone who don't know what they're talking about, it's up to the main people who do the work. And we had a feeling, and sure enough, the guy says he hasn't got the right meter or something to do the 3-phase for the smart meters. So I personally would just leave them be. But that's what they're all pushing everybody now to these smart meters. So that's now going to be moved to another day, which is now going to be another day. We're going to have to rearrange all the work. Anyways, what's in today? You've just seen on this before when I was explaining about filament. Tiny little air filter. This is a hybrid Yaris. There's the inverter, water-cooled one. That air filter in there was perfectly fine, but that tiny little things, 2 little clips, blowing it out of the airline. Just an old lady's car, this. Just getting an oil and filter change and a winter check over. So it's pretty much self-explanatory. The tyre pressure warning light's on because it stood for a long time and the tyres are slightly deflated, so we're going to pump the tyres up to the right pressures to get rid of that light off the dash. You can see, if I just switch it on, I don't even know where it is. It'll come back on when it starts anyway. You've got to go pressing brake pedals and everything to get them to start. But that's this. Not a great deal. I'll show you maybe underneath. You've seen them before. All the high voltage cables, which really you shouldn't be touching if you don't know what you're doing. We've got this Meriva in. Now these are a bit of a pain, these cars actually. Joe used to have one. And he, to be honest, absolutely hated the damn thing from the minute he got it. And we've really kind of hated them as well, ever since. They're just a dreadful, dreadful, dreadful little car for electronic problems. They continuously forget their key, and you'll find you'll come to it and go to start them, and that's just nothing. Massive problem with these, and for some reason, even though they're just based on a Corsa, it mainly seems to just affect the Meriva for some reason. We've also been told, which I'm not even going to attempt, is if it's on the lift and the engine's running, as it normally is for an MOT, or when we do checkovers, if you spin one of the back wheels, I'm sure it's the rear right one, it will lock the doors, because it thinks the car's moving. So you have the customer's car on the lift, doing an MOT, and you forget to put the window down a little bit, which, let's face it, a lot of places do, because some garages like us always put the window down, but then you think twice about it. If you put the window down like a lot of people's car, especially the driver's one that's faulty, and they never put it down and you put it down and it causes problems, you get the blame. So anyways, you've got the car up on the lift, spin the wheel, engine running, window up, locks the keys in the car. So you've got a car left on your lift with the engine running and you can't get in. And if the customer hasn't got a spare key, you're absolutely up shit creek. You've got a car stuck on your workshop lift, but you can't move, that's running. It's not a good situation to be in. So whatever idiot designed that idea needs a good telling, let's say. There's a few other things with these as well. This is the same engine what's in Holly's car, the 1700 diesel Isuzu one. Great engine, but like I mentioned, they absolutely ruined these engines when they put these on. Your DPF. And these engines really, like the legendary Volkswagen 1900 TDI PD, they really could not cope with a DPF, and these engines, to be quite honest, never could also cope with a DPF. So two of the best diesel engines ever made, the 1900 PD and the 1700 Isuzu engine, were killed off by one thing, the DPF. Those is pretty much that shape, but a little, maybe a year older. They had the 1900 TDI PDs in with the DPFs, and it just absolutely ruined them. They had no power, they were diluting the diesel into the oil, it just absolutely wrote off great engines. Unfortunately, that's why we all went into the newer range. So yeah, these Merivas, even if you do need a one, as in like for mobility reasons, get something of the Toyota range or a Honda or something like that. Trust us, they're all right. And do you know what it is? The drive. Mint Joe spent a fortune on his. Automatic, the same as this one. In fact, this one I think's got the full glass roof as well. Yeah, Taz, can you see that up there? I don't know if you can. I'll show you that when it's off the lift. About the only comical thing I like with them is the suicide rear doors. Obviously, they open like a taxi out over. It's about the only thing I can really sum up of any form of interesting point with that, with these vehicles. And the petrol ones, don't get us started. They're just terribly weak. Really major engine failure issues on them. So nah, don't. And definitely not the 1300 Fiat engine. Don't go near that one, the diesel one. Rear spring suspension and structure wise, they're not bad. They're just basically like a bit of a mix between an Astra and a Corsa. To be honest, structure wise, they're really good. It's a shame that they let themselves down. It's just like a Safira / Astra underneath. Actually, there's nothing Corsa. I'm just having a look. I'm just refreshing my mind. Yeah, this is a Safira Astra chassis, same as that out there, just a bit more modified, more like Holly's car, the Astra H. That's what it is. It's not really anything Corsa. It's more Astra. Been that long. We only serviced a few of these. Yeah, so nice, lovely, simple suspension. Electronic handbrakes can be a bit of an issue with them because they've got a motor which lives here, which go wrong quite often. But in the terms of the cabling system in the calipers, nice and simple. And they even have a spare wheel well in them. So structure-wise, body-wise, not bad. Engine-wise, maybe the 17 diesel one if you're doing the miles, but do not get one if you're not. In the petrol ones, forget it. It's mainly the electronics on them that just horrendous, really are horrendous. Right, what else? This Audi, if we get time later on, I'm going to give it one more chance on a DPF regen, and then after that, there's a tight brake somewhere we're going to look at. It's had new discs and pads, and I think a caliper on the rear not long ago, but I think it's that one that's been getting hot by the look of it, and I do remember having problems with the caliper, so it might need a caliper on. That other one has been getting hot. My bet says, before we even put it on the lift, rear left. This is just from when it was standing for after all that rain last week. Yeah, my bet is the left hand rear caliper on it. But we've got the DPF issues, we've got the brake issue. He's wanting to sell it. It's got all this rust. It's got lights and electronic galore on the dashboard, wiper knackered, all this corrosion down here. And when I've just started up this morning, which I noticed a few times last week, it stutters a bit and misfires. I think there's also an injector or something going wrong somewhere along the lines with it as well. And the guy says he just wants it fixed, but it's one of them jobs where you've got to draw the line. You've really got to draw the line somewhere to say, enough is enough, you know. Otherwise you get accused of giving somebody a big bill and not fixing their car. This uninteresting thing, mocker, I've already been through it, so it's just in for MOT. It's been checked, it's fine, it's going straight through. I've lost that much interest in these things now. I can't even tell you what spec it is. I don't know what engine's in it, because there isn't any I would say are good. The diesel ones are horrendous. The petrol ones, even if they're the turbo ones, are horrendous. That's all you get on the back end Ecotec. So yeah, like I've said, they're not a bad car. They're just a very, in my opinion, uninteresting car. Sorry if the people who own it are watching it. I'm just saying, I don't really have a great deal to speak of them. For me, if I want a high-up car, something like these lines, it'd be a Honda CR-V, it'd be a Toyota RAV4, even something smaller, like the Kia Sportage, the Hyundai, what do they call theirs, Tucson, something like that. That's just so much out there. that I would pick other than them, but people like them and I have to have respect. Not everybody thinks the same way as me, and that's totally fine. Otherwise the world would be a very boring place if everybody was the same, wouldn't it? So that's all that's in for MOT, so not a great deal else to speak of. And there we go. Obviously I've kept the most, well, shall we call it, interesting one till the end. The Impreza, it stood all weekend. You've seen us clean the idle air control valve. I'm going to try to see if our, well, local, which is in Alnwick, Dennis Common, if they still even deal with Subaru, and if they do, I'm just going to get a price for an idle air control valve, just in case it goes faulty again. It desperately needs 2 front tyres, so the guy's learning to drive in this car, which for a start is an absolute kind of, what's that word, head turning kind of vehicle, in the coppers of the catching with this front tyre. It's a stretch rim as well, a stretch tyre. I don't even know if people get involved with these who we like stake 4 tyres get involved with that, but my advice would be, now it's running right, get 2 front tyres on it very, very quickly. I'm going to try and get it on the lift and see where the broken ABS ring is in it, just so we can define a corner, whether it's a CV joint on a front one, or I'm not sure if you can split the rear ones on these. It might need to be a whole drive shaft on the back. The Meriva coming down, like I've said, the only interesting thing is the suicide door. That's about it. That's what I'd say. That's really what really turned my head with these. Yeah, this one has got the glass roof. And like I've said, the interiors are pretty funky enough. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, a lot of electronic problems with them. My dad's looking for the oil filter, and the reason why, because I'm telling him it's down here. It's just down the back. It's the same as what all of them are. The Isuzu, it's just there at the tip of my finger, down the back. Looks awkward, but they're actually not that bad to do. But there's your 1700 Isuzu, ruined by the DPF. But what I am going to do is just quickly show you, this is going to be a test because it's stood a while, is see how this starts while it's stood. It's been running most of the morning. Old-fashioned immobiliser, lock and unlock. I don't know, normally beeps. I don't know why it's not beeping this time. And let's just see how it starts. See if it behaves itself. Yeah, as it should. And it drops down to where it needs to be. Another little way to test it is just give it a blip and just check it comes back down. And another good way to test it, luckily the aircon actually works on this. Put the aircon on, and as you can see, it's lifting up. I'll turn the actual fans down there. Hear how it's lifted the revs up? And then when the aircon reaches its right pressure, temperature, drops off. The idle air control valve is doing all of this. Then it'll kick in. Obviously the fans aren't blowing that heavy, and you'll even hear the exhaust note change, which is loud. There, that's the aircon on. Turn your speakers up if you want to hear that, and then off. So that's basically the idle air control valve working. Previously it would just cut out after that, but yeah, it's definitely loud, this thing. But yeah, I must say, I'm happy with that, how it is. Take the key out because I can guarantee any opportunist will want to probably nick this thing. I'm happy with that. So yeah, see what drive shaft's up. Speak to the tyre place if they'll even touch them wheels. Tyres, well, the tyres, the way they're fitted on the stretch tyres or whatever they call it. And go from there. I'll show you underneath of it. There's not much to show under the Yaris. There's a Meriva. I'll show you what goes on later on. Hopefully, I will get this new phone delivered today. So there might be a little bit of an interruption in this week's filming. So I apologise for that. I'll catch you soon. Right guys, welcome back to an update. And no doubt you'll all notice that Boxer 4-cylinder Subaru engine burbling away. I'm not into loud cars, but I do like the sound of a Boxer. To be quite honest, once it settles itself down, it's pretty quiet. But by God, when you put your foot down, it isn't. But that is the key point. this idle air control valve seems to be working great. I am just occasionally giving it a little tap, just to make sure that it's not going to cut itself out or anything. And ever since I've done the cleaning out of the throttle body, fuel additive in, cleaning the throttle, well, all of the sensors I've took off, yeah, that's your map sensor, that's been cleaned, intake's been cleaned. I've also cleaned the contacts on the throttle position sensor down there. And this is your idle air control valve, which I've stripped down, cleaned, and basically let it soak in oil for a few hours, and it's sorted out pretty nice. And that's how the engine is just slowly bringing itself down now. And if I was to say, for example, put, like I've showed you the aircon, I've already showed you this, but if I just put something like the lights and stuff on, it picks itself, it drops down, it'll pick itself back up. The air conditioning on, picks itself up when it needs to, knocks itself back down when it needs to, just like that. Where beforehand it wasn't doing that, it was barely even ticking over, constantly cutting out and everything. So fingers crossed. Like I've told them, it needs to be used a bit more, not sat round. That's underway. Again, the guy said, what's your opinions on this? He's my friend, not a guy. He's a really good friend of mine actually, but it's his brother's car. And he says, I've told them, there's an issue when you're coming to just a slow stop, the ABS cuts in and the pedal vibrates. I know straight away that's the rings on the drive shaft, the ABS rings, but I can't get it on the lift to actually inspect them. As you can see, my lift doesn't even get, even with the bars off, that is still higher than that. And these do pull off. He said just pull them off, and they come off so far, but the only thing is it's only connected by like 3 tiny little plastic clips. Now let me just put this away so I don't fall over. Now the biggest issue is here, it's all fair well, they come off. I've had it off and it comes off, but it's still fixed on down here with something. But you can see there's damage, paint peeling off, and there's some fixing in there as well. Now what I don't want to do is take it off, put it on the lift, and then put it back on and it breaks, or it breaks taking it off, or fit it back on and it's very, very insecure, but the 0.1 bump would fall off, is to take the car down the road and the side skirt falls off. Yes, it's nice to be nice to friends, yes, it's nice to be nice to help people, but unfortunately when things go wrong, which I've learned over the years in the trade, people are not often so nice. And by the way, if you're watching this, Stephen, it's nothing to do with you, I know you wouldn't, but me as running a business, I've got to watch me back. So I've said to them, I says, if you want to remove them, you can remove them and bring the car back to us, then I'll put it on the lift, inspect it, and then take on doing the job. So I've told them up to now what I would do if this was my car. Now it's running properly, happy days. Get them front tyres sorted ASAP, then get the side skirts off, we'll look at it and get on with the ABS fault. I think that's the way we should run it, guys. Would you go pulling something off like that, even for a friend? Not really keen at doing that. So that's it. I'm going to try and get this one out the way of the day, so we've got a bit more space in the garage, take it home and you can pick it up the night or something. What else have I been on with? Waiting for the scanner to charge up, and I'm going to take that out and try and do an on-the-road regen. I've already done that, but I'm going to try and do a forced version with the scanner, but it's very hit-y-miss with this car to do my head in. And there's a brake, like I've shown you, caliper we need to look at if I can get that DPF to regen. This is finished. I've just stuck a fuel additive into it. Just want to say, guys, if you want a little car, get yourself one of these. One of my customers, she's looking for a new car at the minute, and she says she doesn't like the interior of these new Yaris. Yeah, they're not going to set your world on fire, but I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think they're perfectly reasonable. Nice big colour screen in the centre, colour screen on the dash. I mean, crikey, it's got all the tech. Automatic main beam, lane assist, collision assist, adaptive cruise control. It's got all the flipping, God knows what up here. There's a little camera sensor there. There's another one there, there's 2 cameras there and there, and there's another camera, something, a sensor there, and something there as well. It's absolutely spec'd out, this thing. It's just a basic spec one. I don't know why that lady wouldn't want one. Nice car. Like I said, I've just stuck a fuel additive into it, because there's a lot around the doors driving this old lady who owns this car, just to spruce the petrol a bit and keep everything running tickety-boo. Still on Tuesday's vlog, yeah. Bit of a development. We've gone as far as we can do with the Impreza. They're going to take the side skirts off and bring it back in a couple of weeks' time or whenever they're free. So I've took that back home because I don't like it being in the way in the garage here. Even though it's not really a high value car or a fast car by any means, it's very eye catching for the local idiots down here, like for just vandalising it in the yard, touching it, interfering with it in any way, shape or form. It's to the point where if we have to lock the garage up and go out, I wouldn't feel comfortable leaving it in the yard. So I've took that home, and while I went home, I've been in getting the C-Class because I've got the garage ready, as you watch my video, and I want to do a few things to it before it goes into there. Some point this week it'll be going in there. So what am I up to? As you can see, I've got the under tray dropped. First up, before I even get into what I'm doing, I just want to show you this 2002 Mercedes. Remember, guys, it's like brand new. And no, if you had a UK car, these covers do not stop rust. Actually make it worse. Look at those brake pipes and fuel pipes, are like brand new. So yeah, that's really surprised me how good this car is. Hence, it's not getting used in the winter. What have I been doing? Why is this dropped? Fuel filter up here. There's 4 pipes going to it. If you remember, I've marked them. Try not to mark them, but somebody asked why do you do dashes and stuff, not numbers. You try, when you have petrol and oil everywhere, try to distinguish a little number 3 or a little number 4. Dots is pretty much easy to understand. So obviously, you might be able to see them up there. I'll show you with the light. I've got the 4 dots up there, to the 4 dots on there, to 4 dots that I've wiped this one down now. So obviously you can see you've got your 4 fuel lines either side, your fuel pressure regulator at the back there. And that's all nice. And what's happened was it had actually started leaking. And I just want to show you, see if it actually, I've been wiping on it. It was at this point here, which was there at the bottom. And where the little bracket had been rubbing, it had made like microscopic little porous holes in it. And it was starting to weep slightly. You can just see there. But what I did spy on this thing earlier on, I don't know if it's rubbed off. Yeah, it's here. 2008. So the last time it was changed was 08. Everything else has been genuine Mercedes. This probably is of some kind a Mercedes part. I just don't know where any of the writing would be. I can't see anything, but it looks genuine. It's even got the same like markings and stuff as this Bosch one. It's probably just a Bosch one. So anyways, I don't know if, even though Spain does have salt in the air and in the gravel and stuff like that, I wondered if that had done it. So when I refitted this one, I just basically coated it with wax oil and then fitted it. So it's got a form of protection on. But I want to just say these little clips are a nightmare if you don't have the right tool. These pliers are worth their weight in gold. I swear to God. Absolutely fantastic. I remember fighting on for ages with these things. You end up damaging the pipes and everything. So I used these to get the clips off, refitted it, greased up the little top, which are normally rusty, but on this, it's like brand new. But yeah, these are very expensive filters with a fuel pressure regulator, so I'm quite glad to see it is an 08 one. So the car will probably run, not that it needs to run any better, but it'll run even better again. Now, I haven't shown you underneath here how good it just is under here. It is like brand new. Look at that subframe at the back, the rear diff. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Remember, it has had 2 or 3 winters, so that is little tiny bits, but that's just moisture in the air from the rain causes that. Look at them back shockers, they've still got the writing on them. Look at that. Original 2002 shockers. It's unbelievable. I really can't get over just how good this thing is, especially under all that. It is just great. Look up to there, into the turrets. It's like new. Absolutely like new. I mean, there's a few little rubber bushes, maybe what I'll get round to changing if I have time. But it's not really a big deal. But yeah. So what I'm going to do now is give this coating, while I've got this tray dropped, stick a bit of Landguard under there, stick a little bit down the back end, because there's not much you can do with this car unless you remove all the under trays, which I'm not going to do. Do that. I'm going to put a little bit of grease into this, if you can just see it. There, the tow bar socket. There's a little bit of moisture getting in. We're just going to put some silicone grease in, do the Landgarden, and I've got these. If you look, got these proper spacers in extended wheel bolts. These are proper Bremtech wheel spacers. Because this car's meant to have bigger rear tyres to the front. They're meant to be offset, and if you just stand and look how far them back wheels sit inside of those rear arches. It just does not look right, and that's not how it should look whatsoever. If you look there, they're miles inboard, because they're meant to be a 245 on the back, and there was a rim cracked. I know this, and they've put what these are meant to have on the front is two 2.5s on the front and two 4.5s on the rear, like my other one had. But obviously somebody's cracked the rim and just went and got what you call another two to make it a square set rather than an offset set. So what you can do, because there's nothing wrong with those tyres and there's nothing wrong with the wheels, is just simply get the spacers. I think these are like 25mm spacers. So all that does is it goes, there's obviously two there. I need to part them, but they're stuck together. So it just basically makes the wheel sit out that much more, which gives it the look that it should have without having to replace the wheels. So I might stick those on if I get time. But obviously with those you need a slightly longer wheel bolt, which I've got. And while I'm on, I'll have the spare ones off the back. So I'm going to get rid of these horrible lock and wheel nuts. So that lock and wheel nut will be coming out on the front, and I'll be using two of the spares off the back. Obviously there's 10 of these here to go on. So obviously that's the fuel filter Bosch, as you know, it's all I ever use. A few little touch-ups here and there, and it'll be going to storage. Car cover over, battery disconnected, forget about it for a month or so, and then come back and check to see if it starts and all the rest of it. So I'm going to get on now. I'll come back to you when I've done a bit of coating and done a few jobs I need to do. Right, just an update on the C-Class. The fuel filter, I've had it run, and from what I can see here, let's have a check, it's bone dry. That's Lango guard, that's round there. So we just got stopped there by a fire engine trying to get out of there. I'm surprised he got out, but he did. I was waiting to see a lot of, honestly, the traffic here is horrendous with the traffic lights. But he got out anyways, that's why I had to pause it. So yeah, fuel filter is all good. And I've just been on doing the Lango garden underneath, just a quick spray. That's not a great deal to spray, to be honest. I just want to show you these spacers as well. I'll show you underneath better later. So that's one of them on, in place. So obviously you get that much width extra on the wheels, and the wheel goes onto there. Obviously I've got the longer wheel fittings. We'll get the wheel put on, and I'll show you a comparison, the left to the right. I'll quickly take it up. May as well show you. So obviously I've done the lips of those arches with wax oil into those areas when the wheel's off. Clearly it's a lot easier to do it, so I have done. The tone electrics, some silicone grease into there. I don't know why a little bit of moisture was getting in. All the little bits where I normally would get into the rear subframe, just a smothering, because it's never really going to be out in the snow and well, the salt. And we'll have a check round here now. Both those pipes are dry. That one's dry and that one, so happy days there. So this tray can go back into place, and while it's been down, clearly you might not be able to see that, but I've done the floor with the Lango guard as well. There's hardly anything you can get to at the front, plus the front subframe's aluminium anyways, so there's very little bits and bobs you can get done at the front on them, up into the arches and so on. So there we go. I shall come back to you when I've got the wheel on, and we'll do a comparison with and without. It might not look that good on the lift, be better on the floor, but we'll see how it looks anyway. Get back to you soon. Final part of Tuesday's vlog, I just want to show you, obviously now it's been land guarded, there's not much left else really for us to show you guys, really there isn't, but I've got the spacers on, well, one spacer on, so that's it there, that black piece. So now, when you look at the passenger side from this angle here, you can see how far the wheel is inboard, right past the arch, right the way in. If you can see that from the angle I'm standing at, as you stand here, you can see all the way down the sill. If you stand at this side now, you can see the wheel is nicely proud, as it should be. That's how they were designed to be. Obviously, it should have the wider wheel on at the back, but I don't want to have to get rid of perfectly good wheels and tyres. So yeah, I'm really over the moon with that. Offset to exactly how it should be compared to that. So yeah, let us know what you think. You've seen underneath as well, Lango guarded. This thing has certainly not got any rust anyway, but it certainly won't have now. Once I've done these few other bits, what is it? Oh yeah, that's what I've done. Goodbye to the lock and wheel nuts. Can't stand the damn things there in the box. To be put, well, I'm not going to put them in the bin, but not to be used again. So I don't like, actually I need that out to get this last back one off. I just don't see the point in them. Unless you've got a very expensive set of tyres or wheels, they're just a waste of time and they'll end up causing you bother when you break down. So obviously I've got the new longer ones in the back, which do look nice. But what I've done with the spare ones from the back that I've got, I've also removed the lock and wheel nuts from the front. So same applies here, wheel off. And when I've got the wheel off, I can get all the bits of the rear subframe. That's it, really. Fuel filter's not leaking. That's it, fully serviced, fully commissioned, ready to go away for the winter and come back out, hopefully, in April time, where I can enjoy using it. Because I was just saying to Holly the other day, it's the only car in the whole fleet which the air conditioning actually works. So it will be nice when we get the hot weather again to have a car with working aircon if I've got to go on the longer journeys. So, catch you tomorrow on Wednesday's vlog. Right, hello guys, welcome to Wednesday's vlog. I'm going to keep this one relatively short. A, it's a crap day. B, I did quite a lot yesterday, so I'm just going to show you the quick ins and outs of what I'm doing. First up, the A3, I've got that running out there. I'm not even going to go outside because I'm letting it warm up before I do the regen. Now, it won't do a static regen. It's still running at full power. I'm going to try and do a forced on-the-road regen, but I need my VCDS, I need my laptop from home, so I'm letting it warm up, waiting for a customer to drop his car in, and then I'm going to take it out on the road and try, because they need to be right up the temperature and everything. And then on cold weather like today, they take ages to warm up. So I might do a quick video when I'm out and about doing the regen on it, but we'll see. But a Yaris coming in for discs and pads. I don't know if I went through this yesterday with you, but here we go. Set of pads, have a guess. Genuine discs and pads for a Yaris from Toyota versus Euro parts. £3 difference. So we're telling Euro parts where to go and fitting the genuine stuff. Absolutely disgusting. We spend thousands of pounds with them every month, and it's a disgrace that Toyota can have genuine parts from a dealership £3 different to the ones from Euro parts. Now, we're not too happy about that. I'm going to be having words with them. It's not just that, it's right across the board. I've just been telling you about my Altea. I've gotten the mass airflow meter for £60, genuine Bosch, brand new in the box. They wanted 120, half the price. I know you can't live your life on. My dad keeps saying, well, you can't compare eBay to Europarts. Yes, you can, as Europarts sell everything to the public. They are on eBay, and all these companies, I can understand I've gotten some right bargains over the years off eBay. Like, for example, a guy who spends, say, £120 on a mass airflow meter for his car, and it gets written off, or he sells it before he gets around to fitting it, then he'll sell it for 40 quid, or something like that. Yes, I know that is kind of how you get good deals, but this isn't. This is genuine big organisations, massive companies, the same as Europarts, selling these bits. They've got staff, they've got warehouses, exactly the same. So I don't find that as an excuse. The pressure sensor, funny enough, where was it again? Yeah, the pressure sensor, that was, what was it, £23, and Europarts wanted about 58, nearly £60. Genuine Bosch one, exactly the same in the box, saved half price on that. And then this, funny enough, it's here as well, the pressure converter, that was about £80 from Euros, and I got it for £38 delivered. Pierberg, exactly the same as what you get from VW, Audi and Europarts. So yeah, you can't live your life living in a garage running off eBay. I get it, because you need to be able to return parts. I'm not going to deny it, we couldn't live without them part suppliers, but I am considering putting more of my trade towards CTS, because they're such more helpful. And we're going to see now, we're up until Christmas, we spend thousands of pounds a year with them. We're just the little kind of garage compared to the bigger ones. But last year and the last few years gone, at Christmas, we're getting sweet F all off them. Absolutely nothing. In fact, we've had to fight them to get a diary. Just to get a diary. The only thing I will say, I do like the Euro car parts' diary, because there's a special area for the registration, customer's name, time to come in and all the rest of it. It is better than just going to you might just say, oh well, just go to Poundland and get a diary. A normal diary isn't the same as one of those. They're much better set out, a lot more space on them to write, like as in like a page for every day, rather than like a week with like split up into sections. So yeah, anyways, we'll see, but it's shocking, absolutely shocking how much money that we spend with them, in the crap prices they give it, in the service like they provide. One time, going back 10 years ago, you would get bottles of whiskey, you would get crates of beer, you would get invited along for a like a trade evening slash, you know, a bit of a meet up, and you would get loads of freebies. Get absolutely nothing off them now. You don't even, if you complain about the price, they'll just sit point blank and say has to go down to London, head office, blah de blah, load of rubbish. But anyways, that's enough with that other car. That, like I said, we're waiting for the Yaris to come in for the brakes. On with the Subaru Legacy Outback, called different things. I just want to show you, it's sorted now anyway, but ridiculous way of trying to, obviously we've got the caliper, it's getting a rear wheel bearing hub, so obviously caliper carrier, disc, and then we can get everything. You've got we're being 4-wheel drive, you've got your drive shaft to take out. But I just want to show you, just to get the caliper carrier off. Can you see, just behind that drop link in there, and in that one up there, they've got the caliper carrier heads in such a stupid place. If they were to rust out, you cannot hardly get heat in there, you would not be able to get pliers, nothing. If they were to round off, you would be in a world of pain. But more concerningly, we're looking at the state of these 4 bearing carriers, and I think the heads on them are going to be non-existent. And you can't get them from Subaru for a couple of, how long did they say? Months? A couple of weeks. So we're going to see what we do with the heat. But the problem is, with the heat, you've got this booting away, and unless you move the whole hub, I don't know. So I'm going to see what ingenious ideas my dad's got when he gets back. In the meantime, I'm going to take the caliper carrier off, because I've got them slack, get the disc off, and go from there basically. And hopefully in the next few minutes this other guy turns up, and I'll get the Merc out. Oh, by the way, just so you know, that was all Lango guarded last night, as you've seen, but I've got the cover off for the pollen filter to get to the battery, so I can't put it out in the rain, because it'll go directly into the fan motor. So the only reason this is being kept in is, 1, it's going to storage tomorrow, I don't want it wet. 2, they were spreading salt the other day, and when it's raining is the worst time to get salt transfer, so I have to wait until it's dry. Plus, you don't want to put a car into storage wet. And I want to show you one last thing. The spacers that I fitted on the back, as you can see, will the light show better down there? I must say the stance is a lot better now. They sit absolutely how I want them to be. So money well spent there. Definitely cheaper than getting 2 replacement wheels. So yeah, I'll probably leave that there. Well, I might show you on Barry's when it's stripped down, but I've got to get off and do the regen on this and do the discs on the Yaris. Nothing interesting to show there. One thing, just to remind you, there'll probably be a couple of days or a day or so where this week's going to be a short vlog, hence I'm putting a bit into it yesterday, because, like I was telling you at the beginning of the video yesterday, here's my brand new Apple iPhone 13 mini, free of charge, until I obviously send the one I'm speaking of now back, and I'll get me money back. So yeah, that's just been delivered. So tonight is going to involve getting that one charged up and doing an update and all that malarkey, which I absolutely hate. So there may not be a vlog tomorrow if I have problems with the phone switch over. But I'm finding it difficult with this recording, trying to get enough data on for them to work, you know, data for the battery to last long enough without it running out. So I'll leave that one there. Somebody just pulled up, and I'll catch you guys soon.